ULTI.TV.
White Knights versus Red Terror. Red Terror going in undefeated, and White Knights have won one and lost one. White Knights starting on offense and Red Terror putting on a zone, something they have been successful through the whole league so far. Bit of spill there from Richard Klein with the turnover.
We got Sammy Ogden bringing the disc up here to the front of the end zone. Got a hard backhand force on here by Johnny Warren White, captain of the White Knights. Pass it up the field to Joel. Joel looking long for the huck. Pass it to Kay. Dan Clinton making a cut into the middle of the field. Receive the disc. Uncharacteristic fumble by Joel Pillar there, just dropping the disc in the end zone. Turnover.
Red Terror putting on the zone again.
Or swing all the way across the field to Chris Manning, who can't keep a hand on it. Turnover right outside White Knights end zone. Red Terror here with the disc, forcing home. Push pass and the throwaway.
Tom Lee isn't really known for his safe options in those situations.
Red Terror forcing backhand here. Chris Manning getting closed down, has to swing it to the middle of the field into the end zone. Nice throw through there. The huck goes up to Scott Middleton, who's not even anywhere close to it. That huck didn't float nearly as high as perhaps it should have. Sammy Ogden here with the disc, being marked by Scott Middleton. To Bruce. Bruce to the middle of the field to Dan. Great hands there. Back to Sammy, Sammy to Kay. This team will be looking to huck it long to Joel. Joel with the disc in the middle of the field now. Huck up to Sammy Ogden, marked by Scott Middleton. Sammy's really going to have to work to get on this. Looks like it's going out the back.
Red Terror have a very strong zone. It's been working really well for them throughout the whole league, with Kay as a deep and Joel Pillar as a wing. It's a very strong backfield, so it's going to be up to their handlers to try and work it up the field. And with James Hot Dog Connor on the mark, it's a very good mark, very athletic, so it's going to be quite difficult for the handlers as well. So a very good strategic move.
We'll manage to get a throw there through the zone. Again, back across the field to Chris Manning. To Johnny. Johnny looking long to Scott Middleton, but being covered well by Kay there. Oh, throwaway right into Richard Appleby's hands there. Richard picking up the disc and puts up the forehand huck to Dan Clinton. Looks like an easy receive there from him. Looking upfield, James Hot Dog Connor running into space. Back to Sammy Ogden. Ogden looking off the easy flick into the corner there. Ooh, is Kay going to get a hand on it? Point for Red Terror there. Score 1-0. And the pull's going up here by Sammy Ogden. All teams being very careful not to offside now that we've got the proper end zone line set up. Johnny receives the pull. Sando to the middle of the field.
I think
Sando has a huge strong forehand here, but just threw it away on the swing. Duncan here struggling to get a pass off, dumps it back to Kay. Sort of a messy upfield here from Red Terror, not really clear in their corners. A lot of people poaching in the cutting lanes. This isn't good for Red Terror. They've really got to get moving. Looks like we've had an injury called.
Disc brought back in by Red Terror. Chris Palazzi the sub now for Scott Middleton. Dan with a very nice open cut. Nice grab.
Good hands by Dan there again for the second time tonight. Dan to Sam. Sam Ogden working it up towards that end zone line. Forehand flick goes up.
White Terror just being lazy on their defense.
That's going to cost them tonight. Pull's gone up by Joe Pillar. That big outside in forehand flick there. Looks like it's landed right in on the end zone line. Swing to Johnny across the field, up the wing there. Wow, turnover to Bruce. Oh, almost a run through D there by Chris Palazzi. Duncan trapped with it in the middle of the field again. Swings it to Bruce Lee. Looking for the forehand. Great cut by Mike there to the corner. Clears well, Joel looking for the assist. Great cut by Mark Botka there. Joel can't get the throw off. To Bruce, back to Joel. And a hot night tonight. Looks like both teams are getting a little bit lazy with their running.
Red Terror are just lacking in their cuts. It is very hot. It seems like people aren't running as much.
Great pickup there by Duncan Wells.
Oh, throwaway. Red Terror sticking with their zone. Seems to be working very well with them. White Knights yet to score.
Hammer to the middle of the field to Sando. Mart Botka running long to defense. Smart play, dumping it upfield to Chris Palazzi there, across to Chris Manning. On the end zone line, up the field to Mike. Oh! Caught it, but couldn't quite toe the line for the point.
White Knights sticking with their man defense. Johnny Warren White marking up on Joel. Travel called.
Travel called on Dan Clinton. Nice clean stack by Red Terror in the middle of the field here. Throwaway to James. Quick turnover. Red scrambling to get on the defense. Trying to man up on someone. Drop by Chris Palazzi. Back to Dan on the end zone line again. To Bruce at the middle of the field. Joel got off there.
Red Terror are not presenting the cuts. They're waiting for the handlers to make the space, which is going to prove difficult for them.
Uncharacteristic drop by Bruce Lee there. Turnover again.
Lots of drops tonight, probably
Sando
because
with the
of
disc.
the sweaty hands issue, because it's so hot.
No argument here. Back to Chris Manning. Chris Manning up the line to James, looking across the field. Forehand outside in flick. Oh, Chris Palazzi gets a hand to it but can't quite grab it. White Knights here sticking with their man defense. Red Terror, nice clean stack. I noticed off the stack the last few times Joel's cut long right off the front. That's going to be one of the key plays Red Terror make here tonight. Trying to find to a handler who's got the huck, and then nice throw to Joel. Solid tall receiver in the end zone. Forehand flick, can't quite pick it up. Turnover. Chris Palazzi with a disc. Swings to Sando. Sando over the top. Johnny Warren White and Joel Pella here. Johnny comes down with the disc. Great score there by Johnny.
Very nice grab by Johnny Warren White.
Score 1-0.
No, 2-1.
2-1. Disc going up here by Johnny Warren White. We've got the slight cross breeze now across the field from right to left here. White really moving down the field. Looks like they're setting up in a zone. Swings across to Dan Clinton.
I think the zone's the way to go for White Terror. Red were scoring on them very easily in man defense. We'll see how this goes. Doesn't look like it's...
Richard Appleby with a flick to Hot Dog with a score. Chris Palazzi, a Hot Dog. Oh, both get a hand to it. Can't quite bring it down inside. Flick force here by Red Terror. Broken. Looking upfield. Nice receive. Nice cut there by Chris Palazzi into the middle of the field. Sando working hard. Johnny. Oh, drop again. There's been a lot of easy drops tonight that I think is a result of the heat and just this dry wind we've got. Really hard for players to make cuts, and again, foul called. Uncontested foul to Kay in the middle of the field. Flicks it over top to Duncan Wells. Great score in the end zone there.
Kay is a great player like that, got great throws, great aerial, great defense. He's really an all-round player, very beneficial to Red Terror.
Come back to me on that. Joel Pillar with the pull here.
Joel's got lovely pulls and it's going to be really beneficial to his team, especially when they're playing zone, like it looks like they are now. It's really going to give them an advantage, push them right back to the back of the field.
Oh, well seen, Alex. Oh, nice layup bid there by Bruce Lee through the zone to Sando, who throws it away. Thought Johnny was making a dump cut there. Looks like we've had a call. Disc has gone back to Sando. Throws it to Johnny. Johnny swings it to Chris Manning. Disc a little bit high. Is he going to get hands on it? He does. Keeps hands on it. Right on the line now. Across the field to Johnny. Johnny to Sando before the wall can get in front of him. Great covering there by Sammy Ogden. Not letting that next one go up. Oh! Great D by Richard Appleby there. Joel not stopping the roll.
Richie has great closing speed. He'll often get those Ds that you just don't see coming because he's very fast.
Hot dog with the throw, and it looks like it's out, and it's going to stay out.
That's the second throwaway we've seen from Hot Dog. Bit of a careless throw. He'll probably have to reel that in.
White are getting a lot of throws through the wall here. That wall really needs to tighten up and stop those upfield throws. The poppers and the middles are really working their positions really well, working the space. Throw to Chris Palazzi in the end zone. Brilliant field awareness there by the White Knights.
Stephen Harfield has great throws, great vision. He's a good popper.
Pull goes up by Chris Palazzi. Nice and flat. Looks to be received by Tom here. Swings to Duncan in the middle of the field. White Knights. Looks like they've gone back to a man defense. Chris. Kay with a throw there. Chris Palazzi with a throw there, sorry. And the disc doesn't quite stay in. You say something.
Richard Klein with the disc throwaway. White Knights really need to be more consistent. They're having a lot of throwaways.
Red Terror with the disc now right on their end zone line. White Knights, hopefully they can pull off some solid defense here. Or not.
Red Terror with the score.
That cross breeze has come up again, same direction, right to left across the field. Brilliant pull there, really floating. To be received by Richard Klein.
Red Terror coming it down again in the zone.
Oh. Yeah.
They're playing a very loose zone, which seems to be working for them. Richard Appleby quite often dropping out as the umbilical. He's doing a really good job stopping a lot of discs through the middle, forcing them to throw some risky throws.
That's exactly what they need, because a lot of throws I've seen through the wall tonight have just gone and run because the zone just can't catch up with it because of the heat and weather conditions. So it's really important that that wall either stays really tight or is poachy enough to stop a lot of those upfield throws. Disc moving into the middle. Sammy Ogden there almost with the run through D. Back to Sando. Up the field to Johnny. To Sando again. No movement there by Red Terror. Allows the White Knights score their hammer over the top by Sando.
Score is 4-3 to Red Terror.
Disc going up by Johnny Warren White.
It's interesting, these two teams playing each other. They're very similar in their athleticism. Last week when Red Terror played Dogfight, they're a lot more athletic, which gave them a lot of troubles. This game's very interesting. They're going to need to rely on their skills.
Great D there by Johnny. That high release by Richard Appleby there. Joe almost got a hand to it, but Johnny just being able to get that solid D there.
Red Terror going back to the man defense. Bit of a scramble.
Chris Manning here with the disc, flicks it to Sando in the middle of the field. Great hands by Sando there. Looking for the break, but flicks it to Chris, who flicks it right on the end zone here. Great breakthrough there to Chris Manning. Now on the other side of the field. Right on the edge of the end zone here. High flick going. Is Johnny going to be able to keep it in? And he does.
That ties up the scores 4-all.
Pull goes up. Johnny Warren White. Bit of confusion here by the red handlers. And White managing to get on it. Disc still in the end zone. Bruce with the disc here. Looking for the dump to Sammy. Good positioning by Ogden there. Great pick up by Duncan there. White have to watch their double teams getting really close to that player with the disc. Daniel. Back to Bruce. Back to Dan. Dan up the field. Throwaway. Not sure who that was to. They've been able to work it up the field well all night. They've just been sort of marking it up with really uncharacteristic drops and throwaways. I'm assuming because of the heat. Flick, Chris Palazzi, who can't keep his hand on it.
Doing exactly what we just said. Joel Pillar picking up the disc often happens when he feels like his team's in trouble. Could be beneficial, could be detrimental.
Joel, high release, backhand over the top. Callahan! Sammy looking rather disappointed with himself on that one.
It was a bad read by Sam there, jumped way too early.
Bit of conflict between the teams here about the amount of time spent in the break there. White team having to take a bit of an extra time to fix their end zone line. Frustration
might have come through in that pull. It's out for a brick. The breeze is really picked up at the moment. It's red are going downwind at the moment. Should maybe see a huck.
Sammy Ogden with the disc on the brick mark. Great cut there by Kay. Good defended by Sando there. Looking for Joel. Joel cutting deep. Not be able to get away from Johnny Warren White and looked off there. Up to Sammy. Now Joel's cutting again. Looked off again. Sammy to Bruce. Disc goes up, long to Kay. D'd by Sando. Great defense there by Sando. Johnny, middle of the field. Joel coming in to mark him. Not a lot of downfield movement by White Knight here. Ooh.
Risky throw, scuba in the wind.
Sammy with the disc. Trying to throw it to the open Dan Clinton on the line. Back to Sammy. Not a lot of clear cuts here. Not quite sure what's going on from Red Terror.
Red Terror are very messy at the moment. They've got two dumps back at a time. They're clogging each other up. The stack is all over the place. They need to clean it up if they want to score.
They've worked it backfield about 10-15 metres here. They're going the wrong way. Oh, dropped by Bruce. Again, that wind's really picking up. Perhaps that's having an effect on the amount of drops and throws here. To Chris Palazzi. Chris with the flick upfield. Let's see what happened. White Knight with the disc right on the end zone here. Dumps it back to Richard, who gets a good hand to it. Sando open on the break side. Throw can't come off. Chris Palazzi, outside in backhand. Johnny.
Mike Middleton with the D there. That's a great D. Mike Middleton gets a lot of those. Very agile, very speedy.
Johnny looking rather frustrated with his drop there. I think he almost got a hand to it. Almost got back on it. Sammy motioning for Mike to come under. Kay busting long. Joel Pillar, the huck goes up. Very floaty. Is Sando going to be able to get under this one too? Lovely throw.
Lovely throw there by Joel Pillar. Kay out the front of the end zone.
Still counts at 6. Has to dump it to Sammy. Red Terror doesn't quite move up fast enough. Flicks to Dan. Can't quite get to it. Looks like White Knight here bringing in a horror. 3 handlers having to dump it back inside the end zone. Up to Chris Palazzi on the line. Johnny with the disc.
Red Terror playing a poachy man D. It's working quite well. They're moving the disc backwards quite often.
Cutting lane's looking to get a bit crowded. People forgetting where they're meant to be. The field's not being stretched as wide as you think it would, and the hug's gone up, but I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. Caught by Joel Pillar. Call on there. Disc in up to Sando. Looks like White Knight still sticking with their horror here, although I can't really tell. Looks quite messy at the moment. James to Chris Palazzi. Cross to Richard. Flicks it forward. Oh, he's put it up. Sando gets a hand on it right outside the end zone. Looks off the throw. Well did. Chris Palazzi with the score. Great patience there by Sando, waiting for the nice break cut by Chris Palazzi there. Pull goes up by Johnny Warren White. Nice floaty pull. Received by Duncan Wells. Really well. To Sammy.
Thank you, Donna.
Nice force there, trying to stop those big hucks. Swings to Kay. To Hot Dog. Hot Dog with a disc. Looks like Red Terror here playing a horror, getting really crowded in around the zone. Flicks it up the line to Mike Botko. Mike to Joel in the middle of the field. Great cut by Joel into space there. Joel trapped with a disc, swings it back to Kay. White defense, really good here. They're playing rather poachy and loose and really crowding that space in around the disc, which is exactly what they need right now. Flick goes up, turns outside in, received by Joel Pillar. Cole made. Cole on the throw. Joel looking rather disappointed about his lack of a score being counted there. Oh, throw across by Sammy Ogden with a great run through D there.
Ricky.
That guy.
Sammy.
No, he just threw it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see.
Great receive there by Nick Duvac in the end zone.
Red Terror are just down. They're frustrated and they're down, and it's being reflected in their play. They really need a lift. Timeout didn't seem to work for them.
Pull gone up there. Dipped rather early there. Didn't make it all the way to the end zone. Allows White to get the D on really quickly. White Knights here in a really tight zone. Hopefully they can make this work for them. Dan Clinton with the cross-field throw. Joe doesn't even try and get on that. Chris Palazzi with a disc right in the middle of the field here. Flicks it into the wind. That breeze, again, picking up. That's such a dry breeze, not helping the players out at all as far as the heat's concerned, and really affecting their throws.
Sando and Stephen are popping at the moment. They're very, very good poppers. It's going to be quite damaging if they can get through. Ooh, very good bid.
Good bid there by Bruce, but again, the second bid tonight he hasn't been able to get a disc on. Red Terror here. Oh, is he going to get back on it? Can't quite pick it up. That wind definitely having an effect on the throws here. Joel, looking long.
When a team's down, Joel will want to take over. He'll want to demand the disc.
Hopefully Red Terror dropped by Richard Appleby. That's not going to be doing good for Red Terror's morale here. To Chris Palazzi. Flick to Nick Duvac. To Sando. Sando with the flick. Caselle's high over the top. Joel gets a hand to it for the D. Joel picking up the disc again, bringing it to the front of the end zone. Just like you said, demanding the disc. Puts the huck up to Hot Dog. Hot Dog and Chris Palazzi. Hot Dog gets on it. Tries to jump it in, but not quite there. Is he going to force it? Doesn't force it. Does. Still count, must have been getting high. But great patience there. And good high release backhand to Mark Bocker for the score.
Score is now 7-5 to White Knights. Red Terror are back on D now. I think this is going to be better for them.
Joel's called it out already. Oh, and that's really sailing into the trees. That wind really having an effect on that throw there.
Oh, no, I think you're in excellent D. Yeah.
Disc in here to Johnny in the middle of the field. Swing straight upfield. Switching up positions in that zone. Sammy Ogden back on the mark. To Johnny. Johnny. Uncharacteristic throwaway there by Johnny. Bruce with the disc now. Joel trying to make the first cut, but really being shut down there by Johnny. Mark Botka with the disc. Poaching Mark on there, had the opportunity to put the huck up, but no one cutting deep. Joel looking for it. Joel looking for the huck, but can't, no dump there, has to put the huck up. Is he going to get under it? Oh, macked into the hands of the red player there. Joel with that risky huck there, huck throw into the end zone. He needed it, there was no dump, but there was no one cutting deep for it. Like Alex just said, they've really got to watch out for that. Oh, floaty throw, macked into Bruce. Sammy Ogden busting long, Bruce looks him off. To Dan in the middle of the field. Hopefully he can make this work, swings to Richie. Richie flicks to Joel. Joel, the crossfield hammer to Sammy Ogden. Sammy and Joel, the two units working together. Sammy seems rather pleased about that score there.
I think if Red Terror can turn their frustration into excitement and into enthusiasm towards the game, then they're going to be a much stronger team. They've brought it back to 7-6 down from 7-4, so they seem to be heading on the right track.
Joel Pillar with the roller huck there. Red Terror going downwind now, hoping to make up that point. White Knight's offense into the wind, going to be a little bit shaky. Red Terror taking a while to get down on the mark, on the zone there. Dan looking upfield at the players, not looking at the disc. Turnover. Joel making a nice hard in cut there. Looking for the huck, flicks it over the top to Sammy.
Wasn't a great read from Sam there. It is difficult in these conditions, reading where the disc is going to go in the wind.
Oh, hand block by Sammy, make it up for it.
Sam's great with hand blocks, gets a lot of them.
Joel and Sammy calling the play.
This is a classic Joel end zone. Wants the front of the end zone so he can score easily.
Oh, Joel trying to toe the line there, can't quite get off. Hammer across the field to Sammy.
Oh, lovely grab by Sam there. Lovely grab.
Huge grab. Red Terror managing to turn that frustration back into motivation. Looks like they're coming back.
Nice grab, Sam.
Yeah, Sammy, make it up for it. Joel Pillar with the huck into the wind. Roller, smart option. It's going.
Red Terror going down in a zone. They've switched Joel into the deep position. They haven't paid him there much yet this league. Be interesting to see what happens.
White going downwind here with their offense. They could have the advantage, assuming they can break it past Red Terror's strong wall they've got going here.
I think that's one of the reasons that Joel's is the deep, because the deep option's definitely on in the downwind, and he's there to stop it.
He is playing very deep of their deepest player, being very cautious about movements by Chris Palazzi and Nick up the line. Kay is the wing, dropping back, as called by Joel, to cover Chris. Smart move. They are looking for this deep, but can't quite get it. Can't quite find the opportunity to get it off.
They've got a very strong backfoot at the moment with Mark Kay and Joel. It's going to be hard to score.
Another bid by Bruce that doesn't quite come off.
Again.
Great field awareness and patience there, waiting for the open space there.
Red Terror have definitely got their act together. They made it hard for White to score, even though it was a downwind point.
Pull goes up by Chris Palazzi there.
That's why it's not very fast.
Dipping just on the outside of the field there.
That's all right. Dan bringing the disc in.
Tight zone there by White Knight. Chris Palazzi acting as the deep. Really going to have to stick deep there because of Joel.
Mike Middleton is another great threat on the wing. He's very speedy and takes some spectacular grabs.
Joel motioning Mike Middleton to cut deep. Chris Palazzi poaching off him a little bit, wondering if he can afford to do it.
Joel's looking to score.
to Sammy. Joel looking to take it back, get it back. Not a lot of downfield movement here by Red Terror. They really got to keep the players moving as much as the disc.
Tom, Rafa, Bruce Lee there. Nice swing.
He's a huge fan of Rafael Nadal.
He is. He's got a poster of him in his wall, I think. This is at good night every night.
I've seen it. It's signed and everything. Back to Rafa on the wing.
Great grab there by Rafa. Up again, up the line. That's great movement by Red Terror. That's a lovely throw by Rafa. Well done, Rafa.
Great receive there by Richard Appleby in the end zone. Score now, 8-0. Pull goes up by Joel Pillar there. We had time called between points here, so it looks like it's going to be game to 10. Finish this point, add 1 play to that. Nick looking deep there. Looks like we've got a zone on here by Red Terror again. K, the deep this time. Turnover.
Bruce with the disc. Bruce Rafa. Throw to Joel. Joel be looking to score.
Joel to Hot Dog. Back to Joel. Joel looking for the score, but no one cutting to that open side. Looking for Sammy for the hammer again, and up it goes. It's going to double helix at the end there. Sammy comes down with it.
It's a nice grab there by Sam Ogden.
Great point by Red Terror there. Score now, 9-8.
Joel Pillar again with the pull. Huge backhand. It's going to roll. White Terror to bring it in from the front of the end zone. Red Terror have got a zone on. K is the deep. Joel's been put into the structure, often very useful. Playing a very loose umbilical role. Tom Lee again with the bid.
Oh, fumble there by Richie, but managed to get back on it. Sammy gets a finger to it, but doesn't quite get quite enough on it to send it into the grass.
He's a very good mark. They've got a very good wall here. Tom Lee is a great point, as is Hot Dog.
Red Terror bringing out everything they got.
Nice grab there by Richie.
Ricky again. Brilliant crash course here. I'm mesmerized by this zone. It's so tight. These guys are really trying hard. They do not want to let it. They're being very cautious here.
They're stuck on this corner. They're forcing them to the sideline and they're stuck.
Sando with the disc now, looking to do something with it.
They haven't got a strong outward option from this cup. They just keep going back.
Foul called by Sando there.
Uncontested. It's a bit of a lucky foul there. Didn't really affect much, but good time to call it when you're in crisis.
Trapped on that line here. It's gone up by Chris Pilati. Is he going to be able to? Yep, Johnny keeping the disc in. White Knight really going to have to do something with it here.
They're going upwind. This is a great zone that Red Terror are putting in. They've really got their stuff together.
Great pressure. Oh, finally broken through. Can Richard Manning? He can't.
Nice D by Mike Middleton. Richard and Sando are doing a great job there popping. Just had nothing to back it up.
Turnover. White taking perhaps a couple of seconds too long there to get on the D. Not nearly as energetic as the red team here. Hopefully that won't affect them.
Joel really wants to get the goal here. You can see him yelling at his teammates, telling him to get out of the way. He wants to win this game. The whole team wants to win this game.
Great assist there by Joel Pillar, up to a brilliant cut to the open side by Richard Appleby there.
And that's game. Red Terror 10, White Knights 8. Thank you for listening.